This video will demonstrate how to use the QCT Pro CTXA Hip Analysis module. We begin by clicking on the CTXA Hip icon to open the program, selecting the file Hip Analysis Basics from the training folder and opening it. The study opens with the Patient Information window. The purpose of the Patient Information window is creation of a record for the patient in the database. The fields will already be populated with information entered during the scan setup. Patient name, patient ID, date of birth, and sex are mandatory. All other fields are optional. Notice the blinking Add New Record button. Throughout the analysis, your next required action will be prompted by blinking labels. Verify the information is appropriate, modify it accordingly, and then click Add New Record. The match changes from None Found to Confirmed, indicating a new record has been created. Click the Extraction tab to go to the next step. The purpose of the extraction window is isolation of one hip for analysis and acquisition of the phantom calibration information seen as ROIs on the phantom. Extraction is automatic, but failures occasionally occur. The phantom extraction box should enclose the phantom, and the ROI should be visible in the 5 reference tubes. The hip extraction box should enclose the patient's left hip. The correct center of the hip box is halfway between the anterior and posterior limits and the outside edge of the bone, as seen here. The left hip is the default for analysis, but either hip can be analyzed. At the bottom of the extraction window are image selection controls, window width and level controls, localizer axial toggle button, and image information. These buttons display the last and first images respectively. These buttons display the next and previous images. These buttons display the next and previous images in increments of 5. Clicking the Localizer Axial button toggles between display of the axials and any localizer images included in the examination. Window width and level can also be adjusted by placing your pointer on the image and with the right mouse button down, scrolling on the image. Window width is adjusted by scrolling up and down. The level is adjusted by scrolling right and left. Click the Rotation tab to go to the next step. The rotation window is used to prepare the 3-dimensional volumetric hip data for projection to a 2-dimensional planar image. It is from this planar image that the ROIs and BMD values are derived. Rotation entails 2 operations: isolation of the bone from surrounding soft tissue, and orientation of the hip such the femoral neck is parallel to the projection plane. These operations are automatic, but it is to be expected that in some circumstances the isolation and/or rotation will be inadequate. Adjustments must then be made, otherwise it may interfere in subsequent steps of the analysis and impact measurement accuracy and precision. Let's elaborate on the CTXA concept to gain an understanding of the process and goals. Unlike a QCT spine axial measurement, which is a direct measurement in milligrams per cc, the CTXA hip is a 2-dimensional planar image like an AP hip X-ray, and the measurement is of an area in grams per centimeter square. With a planar image, soft tissue is superimposed on bone and must be eliminated. Otherwise, it would be included in the bone density measurement. CTXA uses software threshold functions to accomplish this task. It is the DXA equivalent of using dual energy to isolate the bone. This is an image before and after isolation. After isolation, the femoral neck is then oriented parallel to the projection plane for optimal regions of interest. Here is our example after automatic reorientation. If adjustments to the rotation are necessary, any isolation adjustments should precede rotation because each time an isolation adjustment is made, the hip is automatically reoriented. Auto-rotation can be defeated by unchecking the Use Auto-Rotate checkbox. For example, it can be helpful to turn auto-rotation off when trying to fill a bone hole, and it is preferable the bone stay in a fixed position so filling can be monitored. Isolation and rotation controls allow you to make adjustments, including intersection crosshairs, alignment lines, scroll controls, image rotation by mouse, and isolation controls. These controls are used in various combinations to prepare the bone for the projection image and ROIs. Let's familiarize ourselves with these controls. Intersection crosshairs are yellow crosshairs shown in the axial, sagittal, and coronal image planes. They provide a quick means for navigating through the 3D image volume. The crosshairs mark the location of the intersection of the three orthogonal displayed image planes. The crosshairs are repositioned by dragging. The displayed image planes will be updated to reflect the location of the new intersection point after each repositioning of the crosshairs. For example, moving the intersection crosshair on the coronal image will define new sagittal and axial image planes. The scroll controls perform the same function as moving the intersection cursor, except the direction is constrained to the working plane and the images are scrolled sequentially. The blue lines are intended for vertical and horizontal rotational reference. Drag them to any location that is useful to you. They do not affect the measurement. Rotation is accomplished by putting your pointer anywhere over an image and dragging it in the desired direction. Soft tissue and holes that appear after automatic isolation are resolved using the isolation controls. Let's click Advanced to reveal the isolation parameters so we can correlate our actions with the corresponding changes to the parameters. Soft tissue is incrementally removed by clicking Trim Soft Tissue. Each trim increases the high threshold by 10 milligrams per cc, or 5 milligrams per cc if it follows a trim and fill. Holes are incrementally removed by clicking Fill Holes. Each fill decreases the high threshold by 10 milligrams per cc, or 5 milligrams per cc if it follows a trim and fill. It may be necessary to trim or fill numerous times. Some studies will have soft tissue and holes. Trim and fill is used in these cases. Trim and fill modifies the range parameter and the low threshold. Trim and fill is always used in conjunction with the trim soft tissue and/or fill holes operations. Follow trim and fill with either or both of these operations. The threshold parameters may also be directly modified. If you trim or fill too much, you can step back one step by clicking Undo or start over by clicking Reset. Separate videos will further explain isolation and demonstrate use of the isolation controls in various circumstances.